Mr. Chairman.
Senator Aquino, yes, you're recognized.
On that note, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Palmares has skipped 2 invitations already. I would recommend to the committee if maybe it's time that we compel him to come in the next hearing.
Yes, actually, I feel very strongly that, alam mo, feeling ko, linuloko nyo kami. To put it bluntly, I did not issue a subpoena to your messenger because you made a commitment to produce him at this hearing. In the last hearing, he was sick, not feeling well, and then you committed to bring him here today. Now he's not feeling well again. Frankly, I feel you're hiding something and your credibility is at very, very low. So you better, I'm warning you, I'm warning the both of you. And we will be issuing the necessary compelling orders.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest we also invite Attorney Renato De Jesus, the notary public who signed this affidavit, because if I'm not mistaken, notary publics need to be face-to-face with regard to anything that they sign. So I would like to know if indeed Mr. Mark Palmares went to a certain Attorney De Jesus to actually file this himself.
So ordered. The Director General is ordered to issue subpoenas for Mr. Palmares and...
To be fair, Mr. Chairman, this is the first time we're inviting Attorney De Jesus. Maybe an invitation for Attorney De Jesus and a subpoena for Mr. Palmares.
Fine. Invitation then for Mr. Can I have Attorney...
Mark,
the lawyer.
Attorney Renato De Jesus, Notary Public.
Attorney Renato De Jesus. Okay,
thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Aquino.
Mr. Chairman, my questions are really with regard to February 5 and February 9, no? And finally, we're getting some clarity on what exactly happened. The first chance to actually, the first chance to verify the individuals was actually during the meeting. And currently, we have 2 contradictory stories, no? Sinabi po ni Mr. Wong, wala namang 5 tao doon. Sabi po ni Ms. Digito, merong 5 individuals na nandoon. So that's the first contradiction. The second one is when the bank sends letters to verify the addresses of the individuals. No? So I would like to ask RCBC, did we send letters to these 5 addresses? And was there a return? Were these returned? Or were these verified?
Yes, Your Honor. In the last hearing, I mentioned that we did send out the thank you letters. And of the 5, 4 were returned. Ms. Digito was advised of the return for various reasons, including the address. The resident has moved. He has moved already.
How was she advised?
By email. By email, Your Honor.
Okay.
So we have it recorded.
Let me ask Ms. Digito, do you recall seeing that email, that these addresses were fictitious?
Sir, I have answered that during the last hearing already. If there's are return thank you letters, it's supposed to be delivered in the branch. And pag ganun po, kami yung tatawag sa kliyente. Wala akong natatandaan na may email. Una. Pangalawa, wala ring bumalik sa aming thank you letters. I have mentioned already before that my PC, together with the computer of the service head and the SCRO, was pulled out. So, hindi ko po alam kung ano yung sinasabi nilang email.
Okay. Do you have a copy of that email, attorney?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Was there a reply? Did Ms. Digito reply to the email?
No, she did not reply, but she did receive it. It was sent on, for the Vasquez account, unclaimed, returned to sender. It was sent to her August 20, 2015 at 9:22 in the morning. For the Cruz account, no one to receive. The RTS return to sender was sent to Maya Digito June 16, 2015 at 4:22 p.m. With respect to Picache, insufficient address, it was sent to her on June 3, 2015. And La Grosa's unknown address sent to her same day, June 3, 2015 at 4:39 p.m.
Attorney, how do you know that Ms. Digito received it?
Our system indicates that she did.
This is not a personal email. This is an internal email.
It's an internal email. Her memory is more selective than the emails, Your Honor.
So nakalagay doon, nabasa niya.
Yes. It was sent, received.
And
That's the-
opened. Received is opened, no? Yes, go ahead.
Your Honor, the system will say received, so you'll get a receipt notice saying that, and normally you get it when it is opened.
Okay, so it was opened, no? Were the actual thank you letters sent to the branch?
No.
Is that part of the protocol?
No, Your Honor. She's just advised by email that the envelopes were
So
returned to
hindi
sender.
normal yung ipapadala physically yung mga letters sa branch. What's normal is that you're notified by email.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So that's the second time, no? Now, meron ng problema. Hindi totoo yung account. Why wasn't it closed right there and then? Can't the mother branch or the main bank close that? Or is it up to the branch manager to close that account? Mr. Tan?
It's up to the branch manager as well as the immediate boss. No?
Okay.
In this case, it was the district service director.
Okay. Is that person here? Or
No,
can you
it's-
speak for that person, Mr. Tan? You were the overall head during this time, no?
Yes, sir.
Bakit hindi sinara right there and then? Or
Ay,
why wasn't there an advice from RCBC to close these accounts?
Well, I have to ask the district sales director at that time.
Okay. One of the checks and balance, of course, is yung return to sender, di ba? And I'm wondering why the accounts were still open even after the return to sender, even after the letter showed na fictitious yung mga address. Ang decision ba talaga niyan yung branch manager, hindi yung main bank?
Well, the process is actually the district sales director should have followed up with her to ensure that either the accounts have been closed or the correct address should have been indicated.
Did she? Did or he? Is it who is that person?
His name is Nestor Pineda.
Okay. What did Mr. Pineda do?
I do not have information about
Okay.
that. at this
But
point.
knowing that we're here, nagamit yung mga accounts kahit binalik yung mga sulat. So early on, anong buwan pala yan? What month was that email sent, attorney?
From June to August of
Okay.
2015.
So by
Your Honor.
June, August of 2015, alam na natin may problema yung mga accounts. And yet, many months later, buhay pa rin siya at nagamit nga sa krimeng ito. Wala bang check and balance yung bangko regarding that? I'm just really curious, no? Because I'm trying to find out each and every step of the way where we could have actually stopped this from happening.
Yes,
No?
Your Honor. There should have been, and that's why we also said that we had sanctions imposed at the head office level, particularly for the immediate superior of Ms. Digito, who should have been the one to ensure that the accounts were closed.
The fact
The
that
4 accounts.
the accounts continued even with this, is that normal or is that unique ba siya to this case? Or normal po yun? May mga naibabalik talaga na mga sulat at natutuloy pa rin yung mga accounts?
May mga naibabalik for different reasons and they're able to correct the address. Kunyari may error. They're able to ascertain various other reasons why the envelope was returned. But if it is because, for example, the address could not be verified, like in the Lagrosas case, it clearly should have been closed. And again, we say that's why we also imposed sanctions on our head office.
Okay, so this is one of those failures that we talked about in the checks and balances.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, February 5, nangyari na. I don't think there was really anything in between, no? The time that those letters were returned and February 5. Nangyari na yung February 5, a lot of money came in. Just to be clear, no, the requests of the Bank of Bangladesh came February 9. Actually, February 8, pero nabukas ng February 9.
9 and 10, Your
9
Honor.
and 10. On February 5, when the money started coming in, did RCBC knew about it, right?
Settlements Department.
The
yes.
settlement department. What other departments knew about it?
The branch. The
The
branches.
branch.
That's it.
Okay, and usually, si settlement is your check to the branch. Or is that a parallel process, or are they supposed to cross-check each other?
Your Honor, the process is the first point of entry is through settlements
Okay.
because that's an inward remittance.
And pumasa siya sa settlements.
And from settlements point of view, on a transaction per transaction during that day, it passed muster.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, that was the time it was flagged as unusual when they were taken collectively, Your Honor.
Okay. So, the time na flag siya, no? Ibig sabihin, may problema ito, is end of day, not during the transaction.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, at that time, it was flagged that there was a problem. When you flag transactions and accounts, naka-note na yun, di ba? That's noted already.
Yes, Your Honor.
What check was done to this? Did settlements call the branch manager?
So as per procedure, Your Honor, and this is what happened on February 5, when the transactions were flagged, the settlements officers called the branch for disposition processing.
Okay. And I'm sure you've done your investigation on this. They asked branch manager Digito kung ano to, and what did she say?
At the time, Your Honor, they were not able to talk to the branch manager. According to the officers that we talked to, she was busy on the phone with clients.
Okay.
So we were only able to talk to the CSH,
Okay.
Mr. Agarado,
Okay.
and Ms. Angela Torres.
Okay.
And at the time, Your Honor, when that happens, then we escalate.
Okay. Can I ask Ms. Torres, who is here, no? Ms. Digito, you agree with this testimony so far? Hindi kayo nakausap? Kasi busy daw kayo?
Wala naman pong tumawag sa akin.
Okay. Let me ask Ms. Torres. Ms. Torres, do you recall this conversation mula sa settlements na nagtatanong kung ano ba itong mga transaksyong ito? And we're referring to the four fictitious accounts na may pumasok na $81 million. Naalala niyo po yun?
Hindi po totoo yun, Your Honor. Wala pong tumatawag sa branch.
Let me ask, sir, what is your name? Yes, sir, what's your name?
Your Honor, I'm Dennis Bangkod. I'm head of IT and operations.
Bangkod.
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
Mr. Bangkod, in your records, meron bang tumawag kay Ms. Torres?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who is that person?
That is the head of settlements, Ms. Mercy Quaresma,
Okay, and do
and
we have
also
any,
the operations manager.
meron ba tayong record sa phone or was it through a landline? Is there a record that that phone call happened?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, we do not have a record of the phone calls.
So, Ms. Torres, you're saying walang tumawag sa'yo mula sa branch.
Wala po, Your Honor.
Let me ask Maya. Maya, on February 5, in your testimony, meron bang tumawag mula sa branch to check on the transactions?
Your Honor, you mean from head office?
Yes.
Wala po. Kaya
February 5, February
yes po.
5.
Kaya nga po nagpa-email ako sa settlements, diba? Because I wanted to get a copy of that MT-103 because they outright credited the accounts without calling the branch.
But that's February 9, no?
5.
Also on February 5.
The funds came in February 5.
But yung email mo is on what day?
What do you mean po?
Yung sinasabi mong pina-check mo, di ba? Sabi mo, you asked
That
settlement.
was February 5, Your Honor.
February 5, okay. So on February 5, natanggap ba natin did the settlements receive that email of branch manager Digito asking to check on these transactions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and what happened?
So we responded to that email and sent them a copy of the notices, Your Honor.
What are these notices?
These were the MT-103 inward notices, Your Honor, inward remittance.
Okay, can you remind me, 103 is?
This is the request to credit the account.
Okay, so hindi pa to yung request to stop, no? Which was the 999. This
yes,
is just
Your Honor.
a request to credit.
Yes, Your
So,
Honor.
nung tinanong ni Ms. Digito si settlements through an email, settlements said, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. At the time, actually, it was already credited.
Okay.
And they were just asking for a copy of the remittance notice. And at the time, the end-of-day review hasn't happened yet.
Okay. So, you're saying, nung tinanong ni Ms. Digito, and she emailed settlements, and we have a record of that, at sumagot yung settlements, hindi pa nafa-flag nung panahong yon.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So, this goes back to 2 hearings ago when we talked about meron bang mga check and balance versus amounts, no? And I think Mr. Lorenzo Tan mentioned before that RCBC did not have standards with regard to particular amounts, no? That's right, Mr. Tan.
I remember mentioning, Your Honor, 1 billion threshold.
Okay.
Yes.
But that was not a written rule, no? That's an medyo unwritten rule. Or was that that's actually a rule within the bank?
Your Honor, it was a system-defined threshold.
Okay.
So it's a part of the system.
Magkano ba ang 1 billion dollars o pesos?
1 billion peso, Your Honor, so that would be about 23 million dollars.
Okay, so kung may 1 more million sana itong transaction na to, the system would have caught it?
If I will recall the February 5 incident, Your Honor, of the 4 transactions, and this is what Attorney Estevillo has explained in the last hearing, of the 2 transactions, 2 were actually put on hold by the system because of the threshold.
Okay, so na-hold siya ng sistema kasi lumampas siya sa 1 billion pesos, no? Tama?
That's true, Your Honor.
Okay, and what was the action done?
So at the time when it's put on hold, Your Honor, then human eyes will look at it because the system has stopped it. And at the time, it was deemed normal because they were processing transactions with those amounts.
Okay, so you're saying pangkaraniwan naman yung ganung level with the branch of, with Jupiter branch of RCBC?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, have we changed these rules since this happened?
Yes, Your Honor.
What are the reforms that you have instituted so that we can make sure these types of transactions won't happen again?
One of them, Your Honor, is we've lowered the threshold significantly.
Ano na po yung threshold?
If it's all right, Your Honor, for us not to disclose to
Okay.
allow us to have some security for our bank, but it's significantly lower.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Your Honor, we've also now we've also increased the number of reviews, so we're not waiting for end-of-day reviews anymore.
Okay.
So we've also increased the number of reviews throughout the day.
Okay, so natuloy na-encash na. On February 9, the request from Bangladesh comes in. Okay, and this is my question. If on February 5, na-flag na siya, on February 9, wasn't there a check that these are the transactions that were flagged on February 5 and that these are accounts that didn't have a valid address? Kasi we look at it on a day per day, no? February 9, may pumasok na request. Ay, hindi naman to court order. February 5, may mga lumampas dun sa breach, na breach yung levels. Eh, anyway, na-check naman according to them, kay Ms. Torres. Aren't our systems, or don't we have systems that track all of these different changes? Kasi I'm trying to understand, no? These accounts may mga fictitious address. On February 5, lumampas dun sa levels natin yung dalawa. On February 9, may sulat tayo or may request tayo, even if we didn't recognize it as a central bank. But aren't these accounts tagged each step of the way?
Your
Yes.
Honor, our system does not tag that, but it's actually a very good suggestion for us to incorporate for future changes. But I also would like to just refer back to February 9. Had we been given the opportunity when we received the requests for freeze from Bangladesh, we would have done something and frozen them. But Maya had conveniently changed the facts of what happened on that day because when she received the first order request, she immediately rushed the processing of the balances that were still in the 4 accounts. So that's the difference. But had we had the opportunity, we would have held them.
Kaya, let me get to that point later na. We'll go to Maya. But just on this point, yung mga tao na nag-check nung addresses within the bank, yung mga tao na nakakita na sumobra dun sa threshold on February 5, at yung mga tao sa February 9 na nakatanggap nung request ng Bangladesh, hindi magkakaparehan. They were not the same people? Or were they the same people?
Different and some are the same, Your Honor.
And there was walang nagsabi, uy, ito yung nag-red flag nung February 5. Or wala nagsabi, ay, let me check nga kung may address talaga to o wala.
Your Honor, because we have so many accounts, we were not able to track, and I understand the only way we could track that is through an electronic system, which at that time and up to now is not in place. But
Okay. But let me state lang for the record that maybe this is really an important
yes, yes, Your Honor.
possible reform that,
Yes, Your
that you
Honor.
can do,
Thank
no?
you.
Na each step of the way, kung meron ng suspicious, kumbaga you build a track record of accounts which maybe initially hindi pa ganun ka-suspicious, but eventually, with all of these different things,
Yes.
nagiging suspicious siya, no? Because
Yes, Your Honor.
you're able to check. Now, let me ask lang, Mr. Tano, because si Ms. Diquito mentioned you earlier, I'd like you to respond. May nasabi siya about you earlier, and I'd just like to hear.
Well, yes, I think, I do not recall saying that problema ng Bangladesh Bank yan. No? When the phone was handed to me, I think I explained what was a request for recall no, at that time.
Sorry, you explained
What was a request for recall?
recall the money.
The notice. I explained to her what it was. I think that's what I told her.
Okay, but was there an order to actually recall? Or
Well,
you
there
just
was-
explained the request to recall?
Yeah, actually, she was the one who called us. No, we were having lunch, and she called us maybe about 12:30 that time,
Sorry, this is February
February 9.
9. So tumawag po siya, I guess asking clarification on the request to recall.
Yes, to Miss Bridget Capina, and then at that time she handed the phone to me. So what I recall is she was asking me about what was the process. So I told her the process.
Okay, but was there an order to recall? There was no order to recall.
There was a request according to her, and what I did was I called Beg Echo of our operations group to email me the request for recall.
But was there actually an action on the request to recall? The request to recall is the MT-999 that we are talking about, no?
Yes, sir.
From the Bank of Bangladesh. What was the action on the request to recall?
At the time, it was already around 1 o'clock, so I assume the monies had already been withdrawn.
Okay. So, you're saying, even with that request to recall, huli na rin kasi lumabas na yung pera?
It went out already of the 4 accounts.
Okay. Which leads me to my last point on this topic. When the money was already in the William Go account and about to be transferred to PhilRem, it seems that this was all happening on February 9, no? If I'm not mistaken. And we knew that there was a request to recall already. We knew that, by that time, I'm sure na-investigate nyo na yan. Maraming mga issues ang mga accounts na ito. What was the course of action done before it transferred to Soler, no? And in between the time when the money was going from William Go to PhilRem?
Your Honor, as I mentioned earlier, the bank does not have the authority, despite the request from Bangladesh, to hold or to freeze any of the other accounts.
Okay. Was there an effort to call Bangladesh, the sender of the recall? Kasi sila po yung nag-request na itigil,
Yes.
di ba? Was there an effort to call them?
No, and they didn't make any call to us either, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that one of the reforms that, let me just finish
Sige,
na yun.
sige.
Is that one of the reforms that we wish to do, that when there's a request to recall, at least tatawagan natin yung nagre-request?
Your Honor, it's actually part of our procedure.
Why wasn't it followed in this case?
Because in this case, Your Honor, on February 5, the reason why we didn't call was because on February 9, we didn't call because at that time, Your Honor, the disposition, and this is why operations have to rely on the branch, is because we really do not know who owns the funds at that time in February 9. Normally, in inward remittances, Your Honor, whenever there's a stop hold order, what operations does is it refers it to the owning branch or the owning unit, which in this
case is
particular
Jupiter.
Is Jupiter.
Okay.
And the idea there, sir, Your Honor, is to find out who really owns the funds. Is it
Okay.
really the client, the beneficiary client that is accepting it? Or is the remitter really made a mistake and sent it to the wrong
Okay.
beneficiary?
So may process kayo of checking, Mr. Bangkod, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
May process kayo ng pag-check. Was that process followed on February 9?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pero hindi nyo tanawagan yung yung may-ari ng account because they're fictitious.
So at the time, Your Honor, we didn't know it was fictitious. And so we referred it to the branch, and our procedure is we wait for disposition from the branch.
Okay. So meaning you accepted the word of your branch manager and the other members of her team.
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Wala ba sa procedure natin na tawagan yung nag-request na i-hold? In this case, the Bank of Bangladesh?
As I said, Your Honor, normally it's going to be a judgment call on the part of operations where if we do not receive any answer or any clear answer, then we may call the remitting bank.
Okay. May I suggest that maybe as you're doing your changes, that maybe when a request comes, especially if it's from a central bank, that maybe at the minimum, tawagan natin yung nag-request ng... okay, on that note, was there any effort to call AMLC about this? Kasi nakalagay, di ba? This may be in violation of anti-money laundering laws in the MT 999, no?
Yes.
Was there any effort to call AMLC and report this?
No, Your Honor, and that's not normally done. The law requires us to file our suspicious transactions reports within 10 days.
Within
but
10 days, no?
It's not normally done that we call up the AMLC to advise them of this. Really, the procedure is really we file a suspicious transactions report.
Okay. To be honest, attorney, yung 10 days na yan, it's also something we will probably have to
Yes,
reform, no?
yes.
Because masyado talagang
Yes.
matagal yung 10 days. Wala na yung pera sa
Yes.
sa bansa, no? But so there was really no effort to call AMLC because you said hindi naman yung ginagawa. There was no effort to call the Bank of Bangladesh either. At best, you asked the branch manager, and the branch manager vouched for the accounts. Although kino-contest rin nila yon na meron daw tumawag.
And at that time, Your Honor, the funds were already out of the 4 accounts.
Okay. The money is in the William Go account transferring to PhilRem. Wala rin kayong magagawa nun kahit may request for recall na.
No, the law and the regulations do not give us that authority.
Okay, I'm going to ask BSP later about this, no. Pagkatapos nilabas ng PhilRem a large amount of money, binalik rin sa RCBC to convert. At that moment, hindi nyo rin pwedeng i-hold yung pera. Kasi 'di ba, pumasok na sa PhilRem and then kinonvert ninyo sa RCBC. That's right, no, Ms. Salud, no?
Your Honor, we are not allowed to hold or freeze. We do not have the authority to hold or freeze. After it's moving down, we do not have that authority, Your Honor.
So the only time, your testimony is the only time that you could have was when the money was remitted to the 4 accounts, or from the time that the 4 accounts moved to William Go, or from the time that the William Go account moved to PhilRem, or from the time that PhilRem converted back to RCBC? At what point could you have done something?
Only in the 4 accounts, Your Honor. We are a private institution. The laws and regulations do not give us that authority. In fact, when we receive a freeze order, for example, excluding some accounts, we still have to ask for guidance from the regulators. Why are these accounts not included? And
In this
they will
case,
guide us.
you didn't ask guidance from the regulators, from BSP or AMLC?
After the freeze order was issued, Your Honor, I believe we did send a letter to the AMLC asking for
After a
guidance.
certain number of days?
Yes, but in this case, in the start, we just filed our suspicious transactions reports as we normally do, Your Honor.
Finally, Mr. Chairman, taking a lot of time, no? From DG Espinilla and from Ms. Bakay Abad, narinig niyo po, each step of the way, may mga tsansa na matigil po ito. And I'm not putting blame on anyone today. I'm just saying, mukhang may mga failures talaga. Now, DG Espinilla, from the BSP point of view, you're the regulator of our banks. Ano pong komento ninyo? That there were a lot of times when checks and balances probably could have done better. In fairness to RCBC, they have apologized for this already. But moving forward, ano po ba? Kailangan ba mas maging stricto yung checks and balance natin? Do you have any comment after we laid out the process this morning?
In general, Mr. Chairman, our regulations require banks to be diligent about these things. And as you pointed out accurately, there are several points wherein they could have made a judgment in terms of the appropriate handling. And there, what is required is what's called enhanced due diligence, meaning they perform extra steps when the circumstances seem to be out of the ordinary, if I may put it that way.
In this case, DG, clearly matters were out of the ordinary.
In this case, it seems that this is not the ordinary things that you would see, considering the history of the account, etc.
What is the Bangko Sentral going to do with all of this? If I may ask, I have not asked this question yet from the BSP. Is there a kasi kayo po yung regulator, di ba? What are the possible consequences or actions to be done by the BSP regarding everything that has happened?
The procedure of the BSP, Mr. Chairman, is to verify for itself the factual circumstances through an examination process. And the purpose of that examination process is, among other things, to establish whether there has been a violation of regulations and whether there has been, particularly in this case, a violation of the anti-money laundering law, and to determine who are accountable for such violations, Mr. Chairman.
Executive Director Bakay Abad, narinig niyo po yung buong proseso. Should they have called you earlier? Should they have brought AMLC in? Or nasunod naman po yung mga patakaran at yung patakaran niyo may problema? I mean, your opinion on the matter.
Well, at that stage, Your Honor, as stated by Attorney Marcel, they're not under obligation to get instruction or guidance from the AMLAC because they have the process in place. Matters, in instances like this, the matter should have been escalated to proper authority within the bank. It's an internal process that they have to comply. So, at that point, the AMLAC's participation was not necessary.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the time. I have other questions with other speakers, but
yes,
on
please,
this note, I'm done. Thank you.
You'd like to ask? Okay, but before we recognize Senator Soto, I just want one point lang. Senator Aquino was narrating that it already left the 5 accounts and it went to William Go, and then he was asking at that point they were already flagged. And yet, did you do anything? Ang sagot niyo po, RCBC, was you had no authority to do anything. But at that point, I will not argue that point, but at that point, you had knowledge that it was flagged.
Your Honor, we received the request for freeze by Bangladesh, but as I mentioned earlier, the requests were not clear to us. Doubtful, we think it's against anti-money laundering laws. So the requests themselves did not give us the guidance and information that we all have now. On hindsight, yes, we knew at that point, yes, that there were these requests. By February 9 in the afternoon, I found out. But at that time, we were also in the dark. We were trying our best to understand. We did not know that the Bank of Bangladesh was a central bank. We had no relationship with them. The email was to us a normal priority, did not guide us sufficiently. The February 10 email was a clearer one, Your Honor. So we did not have the information that we have now at that point.
Okay, I will not argue with that. But the point being that you had knowledge already that there was something wrong with the account, yet you did not call anyone.
We had knowledge that 3 of the accounts had request for recall from the Bangladesh, Your Honor. But also, we welcome if there are amendments to the laws that would allow us to hold subsequent accounts like the William Go account, because really, we do not have that authority, Your Honor, to hold or freeze any account unilaterally. We are a private institution.
Agreed. Sige na. We will
Thank you, sir.
not argue with your authority. I'm just asking about your knowledge that they've been flagged.
Yes, we received the February 9, for the 3 accounts, February 9 request from Bangladesh in the late morning for the 3 accounts, Your Honor. And then on
when
February
did you
10,
yes? When did you reply, ma'am? To the bank.
we replied the same day, Your Honor.
What time?
I don't have the time with me, but I know it should be towards the end of the day. The document that you sent to me that I saw is not the same as my document. Your Honor, I believe that's from the Bank of Bangladesh.
Yes.
What you were holding. I don't have the time. I know there's a time difference between Manila and Bangladesh.
All right.
Of 2 or 4 hours. I'm not certain, but we did send it in the afternoon of the same
The
day.
reply to Bangladesh Bank, the
Yes, Your
central
Honor.
bank.
Yes.
Sometime late in the afternoon.
Yes, of the same day, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Abad, one last question is, let's go back to the point of Senator Aquino. 10 days to file a suspicious transaction. Knowing this, knowing what happened, at the end of this, maybe you can give us a recommendation. It seems that 10 days really has to be revisited.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, actually, when the AMLA was amended in 2013 by virtue of Republic Act 10365, the covered institutions were given actually 5 working days within which to submit reports to the AMLAC. However, although under the same provision of the law, the AMLAC was given discretion to extend the reporting period if necessary. And so upon request by the banking sector itself, the AMLAC extended that reporting period. So from 10 days, from 5 days, it's now 10 days, 10 working days. So probably you can go back to the original provision of the law, which is 5 working days.